Well, 2020 for most people was a bit of a shit show, for lack of a better word.
Oh
That is not the case for you. UFC debut, first UFC victory against a big name like Koshki. Talk to me about it. Now that months have gone by, has it set in that you're not only a UFC fighter, you've already got your first victory in the UFC?
yeah, man. I mean, this has been a very long-term project of mine. It's something that I've envisioned for over 10 years
Mm-hmm.
to be in the UFC. So, the 2020, like you said, was a very up and down year. In March of 2020, I had a knee surgery, and I was like, driving Uber and delivering food, and wasn't sure when my next fight was going to be, and was kind of just in a crossroads, I just ran into some people that, really believed in me and really helped put me on the right path. And, thankfully I was able to compete, in Dubai, and especially in the year 2020 was even flying to go anywhere was such a hassle. But, I was just very fortunate to get that opportunity, go out to Dubai and compete. And then not long after that knockout, I was able to get management. And then, 2 months later, that call comes in to make the UFC debut, and I just didn't think twice about it. Didn't care. I actually didn't even know who the opponent was until 3 days after I got told. So it was just one of those things that I knew that I just had to do what needed to be done to get in there and put on a performance. Obviously, the preparation for the fight was not ideal. I had COVID, and I was in a quarantine for 10 days without doing anything, training, no nothing. I was, stuck in my apartment. But as soon as I got out of quarantine that night, I got the text message, and all guns blazing from then on. It was just like, let's get ready. There was some moments where I was like, man, I remember so vividly that as soon as I got that phone call, it was within minutes that I was hitting pads, and I couldn't even last the 30 to 60 seconds. It was a struggle to breathe, and It was a very strange feeling, and it worried me for a good 2-3 days. And I wasn't sure if I would be even able to compete. But I have like I said earlier, I have an amazing group of people around me. Lorenzo Pavlico with Primetime Performance. He took me up to the mountains, and we were running in 6,000 feet altitude. It was piss and snow. It was I swear it was out of a Rocky movie. And back to training that Monday, I felt like my old self again, and there was no turning back. I felt very confident in what I needed to do to come out victorious in that fight, and I couldn't have written the script any better. It was an amazing experience to not only fight on a pay-per-view, with Joe Rogan there, and just put in a performance like that on short notice. It was just, like I said, it was a blessing, and I'm just super happy now to have established myself in the UFC. There's no one that can say that I don't deserve where I am right now. I proved that in my last fight. So, I'm just excited to get the ball rolling, keep checking off the historic things that I'm doing every time that I get in that octagon.
100%, man. And I mean, that sounds like to me the glow up of, to go from, an Uber driver and Grubhub and all this stuff to fighting in the UFC. I mean, what kept you going in the sense of, and you kind of answered it with the people around you, but mentally to kind of get back in there and then have it pay off to, here you are, like you said, an established UFC fighter. No one can take that away from you.
Yeah. I've been chasing this goal since I was 19 years old. So yeah, I knew what I knew what I had. I knew what I was capable of. I just, my whole career leading up to that point had been a one-man show. I've been, all over the world, being the B-side on most fights, taking fights on short notice and unideal opportunities. But I'm pretty good at making myself comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And I've been competing as a martial artist since the age of 6, and I've traveled around the world and competed. And this is nothing new to me. This is my natural. I love fighting. It's
Hmm.
the one thing that I feel very comfortable doing, and I genuinely enjoy it from all aspects. As a fan, as a competitor, just it's something that I'm passionate about. So there was no question ever that I was like, oh, is this really what I want to do?
Hmm.
Is there another thing that I want to go down? It was never a question. And even if it wasn't to be in the UFC, I would do everything in my power to compete as long as my body and mind were willing. And, thankfully, because of, the abilities that my management team and my coaches and everyone has seen, I knew what I was capable of. I've
Hmm.
trained with some of the best fighters on the planet. I've trained with the current welterweight champ. So I knew what I brought to the table, and it was only just a matter of time before the UFC took notice. And thankfully, it came when it came.
Absolutely, man. And April 10th is fast approaching, where we'll see you back in the octagon. Talk to me about Impa. I mean, this is his first fight since the brutal highlight reel KO that we've seen. Is that something that can mess with a fighter? And will you try to take advantage of that? On the 10th.
I've when that phone call came in for the fight, and they gave me the name Impa Kasanganai, I was actually like, oh, are we fighting at 185? Like I didn't know. But when they told me he was coming down to 170, that was definitely something that interested me. The guy's never fought at 170 in his whole career. We're talking amateur and professional. He's been in the fight game, I would say, a pretty short amount of time. He's not a super experienced guy, but don't get me wrong, he's powerful, he's athletic, he's unpredictable, he's going to come in good shape, I'm sure. But coming off of a massive knockout like that, don't get me wrong, from what I understand, he's a very well educated guy. He seems like he's a very sharp he's very sharp
Hmm.
mentally, and
Yep.
I'm not going to take anything away from him. This is actually probably his first loss, so it's going to give him even more added motivation to come out better and a better version of himself. I mean, that's what I would expect. If there's anything less than that, then great. But I'm expecting a monster. But at the
Hmm.
same time, he's very lean. And for someone who's never fought at 170 to come down and start asking questions about whether he belongs in a weight class or not, it definitely, I play that as an advantage because it's something you got to worry about. That's an added stress. It's just something on your shoulders. For me, I've fought at 185. I've won belts at 185. 170 has always been my home and it never been an issue to make weight. I'm very, very close to my weight as is, and
Hmm.
I'm very, very, very confident in what I do. So as long as Impa comes in and does what he needs to do, I hope he makes the weight. But deep down, I hope he doesn't, so I can get a little bit extra money. But at the same time, like I said, I think it's as long as I'm 100% ready in there, and I expect to be. I think it's gonna be a difficult night for Impa.
And this is two, you know, high level prospects right off the bat, two contender series guys. I mean, this speaks highly of you because this is the matchmakers want to see you successful versus these guys and see where it can take you. I mean, speak on that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the UFC loves. I mean, if they're willing to give me $50,000 on my debut based on that performance, they must have been happy. So I'm gonna have to repay them for that, and that's by putting on more good performances. And that's something that every fight that I've had, in my career, there's never been a time where I've taken the easy road or tried to make it oh, let's get it easy, just lay on the guy and get out of there. No, I
Hmm.
love what I do. I love to put on performances, and I'm pretty sure the UFC loves that too. So Impa, like I said, he's got a good following. He's got a little bit of hype, and I was able to create a little bit of my own after this past fight. And like you said, it's got all the recipe together to make a show for fireworks, man. I think truly both of us are going to bring it, and I mean, if we got the ability to potentially put on another fight of the night or a bonus there, I think the UFC will only like that and continue to put on good fights for myself, yeah, and potentially Impa, because I still believe that Impa is someone that could eventually make himself a contender one day.
Hmm.
So it's very exciting. Like just the prospects, just being a prospect in itself, and then if I get this result on the 10th, I'll be able to hopefully push myself up to someone that's more experienced, that's been in the UFC. And like I said, actually I didn't mention, but in 2021, my goal is to end the year as a ranked welterweight.
I
So
love that.
I really, really hope that that opportunity presents itself. The UFC keeps giving me these challenges. I want no easy fights. I want fights where the fans know that this is a challenge, and if he can get through that challenge, then we're going to back him and continue to watch his career.
And this one obviously has Fight of the Night written all over it, and all his fans are super excited. Talk to me about, like you said, you already fought in a pay-per-view in your debut, UFC 255. This is the second card on ABC with UFC's new deal with ABC. Talk to me about that. Just very big time spots that you've been able to kind of jump into here in your first couple fights with the UFC.
Yeah, man, I've been very fortunate, to come in on a pay per view on my debut. Obviously, the first fight, but that was awesome in itself. Like, wow, the commentating crew, Joe Rogan, I'm a big fan, so just to have him commentate on my fight was obviously pretty surreal. But for this ABC card being the second card ever for the UFC is also incredible because the amount of eyes that will be hopefully on us will be much more than we would just on a normal pay-per-view that people have to pay for. And that's something that I really appreciate. I mean, the goal is to, get your name out there, to get your brand out there. And I truly believe, the more that I get these opportunities to put my name in such big viewerships, ABC is such a mammoth network, with sporting events, with TV shows. So it's super cool. It's a great experience, and what a better place to put on a highlight reel finish or to put on a fantastic performance. So I'm super pumped. It's and not only that, we're going to be the first fighters to be rocking the Venom gear.
Yeah.
And then I'm also the biggest underdog on the card again. So I'm loving all this historic stuff, and I like breaking records. I like just checking boxes off on my goals and all the things that I'm trying to accomplish. And some things just kind of like the ABC thing was just something that popped out of nowhere, and I'm like, cool, let's just add it to the checklist and let's just keep working. And it just motivates me and it puts me in good positions to go where I want to go. So I'm super excited.
I love the checklist of it. Last one for me here. Some fighters don't like to give them, and that's completely fine. Do you have a prediction for us for April 10th?
I do. I'm predicting second round TKO late into the second round.
All right, awesome. Well, Sasha, that's all I've got for you, man. Thank you very much. We look forward to watching you on April 10th on ABC.
Awesome, Joe. Thank you for your time.